Who could be the killer of 650 women and young girls? Who could enjoy killing and torturing young women and girls? Is anyone even capable of such brutal acts? Unfortunately, the answer is yes. And even more tragically, these acts were committed by a woman against her own gender. Do you want to know this serial killer? Then stay with us in this video. When talking about murder and killers, most people might automatically think of men. However, it seems that this is not always the case. Some believe that a woman in history was the most prolific serial killer of all time. It is believed that ElizabethBathory, a Hungarian countess, killed 650 women and girls during her 54-year life. In Hungarian folklore, she is also known as the BloodCountess or Blood Princess. ElizabethBathory was born in 1560 or 1561 into an aristocratic and royal family in Nyarbátor, Hungary, and spent her childhood in a castle in Exed. Unlike her contemporaries, she was highly educated and could speak several languages. It is said that participating in ceremonies where horses were sacrificed was one of her favorite pastimes. In one of these ceremonies, she saw a thief being sworn into the belly of a dying horse to die. One of her earliest violent behaviors can be traced back to her childhood when she would beat her subordinates for the smallest and simplest reasons. Her family controlled Transylvania, a city in present-day Romania, and her uncle, Stefan Báthory, was the king of Poland. ElizabethBathory suffered from epilepsy during her childhood and frequently had seizures. In the past, doctors suggested that the blood of healthy individuals be smeared on the lips of the afflicted person as a treatment. Despite being born into an incredibly noble and high-ranking royal family and spending her childhood among knights and kings, there were also madmen in her family who influenced her violent and insane behaviors in later years, including one of her uncles who taught her Satanism in her childhood. At the age of 11, Elizabeth, who was considered a beautiful and educated young lady, was engaged to Count Dracula and married him at the age of 15. They settled in a luxurious castle in Exeter. It is said that Count Dracula built a torture chamber in the castle to please Elizabeth. But some researchers believe that Dracula was unaware of these horrific actions. Eventually, Francis Dracula died in 1601 after 29 years of marriage to Elizabeth. Strange stories have been told about this BloodCountess, including that when she was 40 years old and stressed about aging and losing her youth, her violent behavior intensified. It is said that one day, while her young maid was combing her hair, the comb's teeth accidentally pricked the countess' scalp. Elizabeth slapped the young girl, and blood from the girl's face splashed onto the countess' hands. When Elizabeth noticed that the part of her skin that was smeared with the maid's blood had become soft and smooth, she was struck by a bizarre and foolish idea. She ordered that the maid's blood be drained into a bath so she could bathe in it. The idea of a blood bath led to other young girls being gathered and tortured in horrific ways at Elizabeth's command, ultimately being brutally killed. The BloodCountess would then bathe in their blood, believing it would restore her youth. It is said that ElizabethBathory used the blood of virgins to keep her skin young and maintain her beauty to please her husband. This story was first published in 1729 by a Hungarian priest long after Elizabeth's death. Although ElizabethBathory carried out these tortures in secret, rumors about the disappearance of young girls and her crimes gradually spread, causing people to become suspicious of her behavior. These claims gained more attention in 1609 when they involved women from noble families. Her accomplice servants were arrested in 1611, tried, and 3 of them were executed. Despite the evidence against her, Elizabeth's influential family protected her from facing trial. In 1610, Elizabeth's cousin, Count Gregory Thurza, who was responsible for judicial matters in the region, raided her castle. Elizabeth, who was torturing her victims at the time, was cut off guard and imprisoned in the castle for further investigation. 4 other servants were also arrested and tortured during interrogation. They confessed that Elizabeth had buried many of her victims. The number of bodies reported by her servants ranged from 36 to 51. Another relative, Palatine, conducted an investigation on the orders of Matthias II and concluded that Elizabeth had tortured and killed over 600 young girls with the help of her servants. ElizabethBathory never confessed to her crimes and was never tried for them. Instead, she was confined to a room in one of her castles in present-day Slovakia with only 2 small openings for air and food. She remained imprisoned there until her death in 1624 at the age of 54 with a record of over 650 innocent victims, including young girls. Her body was found on the floor of her cell. During the investigation of ElizabethBathory crimes, which are now archived in Hungary, a total of 300 people testified. One witness, named Susanna, claimed that Elizabeth kept a diary recording her murders, listing 650 victims. However, this diary was never found. In later years, some historians have questioned whether she was truly a prolific serial killer. Some speculate that Count Thurza's raid was intended to clear the way for other family members to seize Elizabeth's wealth. Hungarian historian Irma Századek wrote in 2005 that if we compare the testimonies with contemporary medical texts, descriptions of the tortures claimed by Elizabeth's servants closely match medical and surgical treatments for certain diseases. Additionally, many buried bodies were found on her estates, which Elizabeth attributed to cholera. Beliefs hold that she is the second most notorious figure in history, and after Vlad III, the ruler of present-day Romania in the 15th century, known for impaling criminals and earning the nickname Vlad the Impaler or Vlad Dracula. ElizabethBathory, the BloodCountess, is recognized in the Guinness World Records as the most prolific female murderer. For similar cases, subscribe to our YouTube channel and click the bell icon.